But I just rooted for people on my team.
Yeah.
I think I did most of the time.
Yeah.
Actually, all the time I did, right down to the end, right?
I think
maybe not before you were actually on my team, you know, that little one day, but it's like no one was on teams yet, right? But as soon as you're on teams,
Yeah.
there's fight to the death. That's what I was gonna do, right?
What's up, guys? Big news, I've finally got some merch. I've got this design and many others on a bunch of cool items. We've got hoodies, we've got bomber jackets, we've got socks, you name it, I've got it. And what's even cooler is I got my friend Sabrina's help, who is actually a director over at Disney Animation. That's why they look so dope. I'm super lucky to have her help, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. So use the link below and go stock up on a bunch of cool shit. Thanks again, Sabrina, for all the help, and thank you guys for all the support.
Do you have a critique from one of the judges where you just heard their critique on your tattoo and was like, I don't know what they're talking about, they're completely wrong, and you still feel that way?
A little bit. I mean, I know my roses weren't great by any means, but I still stand by the fact that they were more traditional than Jade's, and I was trying to just show off that more like grungy, old traditional style. I mean, because when I look at traditional tattoos from back then, they're never pretty. So I wasn't going for a pretty looking tattoo. And I think Nico was the only one that got it at the time when he's like, it just reminds, you know, the name of the banner, like that's what was in all the Flash tattoos. Ryan said that it just reminds her of every piece of art that you see on a Flash wall in a shop across America. And I'm like, right, that's the point. So, I don't know, but other than that, I mean, everything else they said, you know, when it comes to the gold one, when it comes to the samurai, it's like, they were pretty spot on with this shit. The roses I didn't agree with wholly, but you know, they were still right on a lot of aspects. It still needed saturation, it still needed this, that, and the other. But yeah, just that one.
No, actually, whenever the judges would critique my work, and it's something that happens constantly, I have already critiqued my own work with all of their critiques, plus. I'm like, that was wrong, could have done that better, that's off. I nitpick every single little things in every single one of my tattoos. So even if somebody's like, it's amazing, it's perfect, I'm like, it's garbage. I could have done this better. I could have done that better. So every single critique, I'm like, I've already critiqued it. All of that's correct and more.
On my first episode, when they picked my tattoo, I was like, what the f-? I thought I was gonna be on the bottom maybe, because I didn't see everybody else's tattoos. So I didn't know what I was going against. So I was like, I don't do Japanese. I had no idea how to do it. I didn't know if they want traditional Japanese or could it be just Japanese subject matter. I didn't know what they want. So when they said they picked my tattoo as the highest rate, I was like, that's why I broke out crying. And then for my lettering challenge, I agree with everything they said. I deserve to go home on that one. That was horrible. But I just wished my client would reach out to me when she watched the episode, but she hasn't. Again, if you're watching it, please reach out to me. Let's finish that thing.
The piece that I did in the finale, like my biomech watercolor piece, they had a lot of things to say that I didn't hit the challenge, it wasn't biomech enough, it wasn't watercolor enough, and I disagree. I think I took biomech and I brought it to the future and I created something new and different than everybody else. So I still feel like I hit the challenge and I do disagree with the judges.
I finally started feeling momentum with the metallic one. I was like, oh, this is a sick design. This girl's got a little bit of a darker complexion, like olive skin. Like, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna have a lot of different metallic stuff in there. Like when the judges came around originally, they're like, oh, this foil is sick. The gold, the droopy stuff at the bottom's tight. Like, they're talking about how they liked it. And then I did the tattoo and it came out and it looked sick. It was super smooth and had a lot of, I thought, different effects of metal. And it was just like spit on, like pretty much completely. And then I was like, wait, what? Like, I finally do a tattoo that I'm like, dude, this hits. And I just ended up in the bottom again. And it was, well, that was also, I ended up in the bottom, I think, because you guys voted me down there. You guys saw me even as being in the bottom until the judges' critique when they started kind of shitting on it. that was one of the ones I was kind of like, well, I don't know, you know what I mean?
All right, real quick, I want to take a break and give a shout out to the sponsor of our channel, Mad Rabbit. Mad Rabbit is a tattoo aftercare company that has something for everyone. Whether you're a new tattooer or a longtime veteran, they've got you covered. So head on over to madrabbit.com and check out all they have to offer. And be sure to use code PONY20 to save 20% off your entire order. All right, let's get back to it.
Okay, my question is, how do you feel like the theme of the season, OGs versus Young Guns, affected your experience on the show? And do you think it would have been different if that theme wasn't in place? Do you feel you actually pretend to root for people on your team when you actually had best mates on the other team? Because been there, done that. Or do you feel like the elimination order played into balancing out those teams through the competition for as long as possible?
Going in on the competition, or the show, and if you think about teams, we thought we were going against each other. And then when they said Young Guns versus OGs, I was like, oh, and right, here we go. I'm a Young Gun, which I still consider myself as. And 10 and up, 10 below. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're on the same team.
I think they should have made the 15 the cutoff myself, but
Yeah.
but I just rooted for people on my team.
Yeah.
I think I did most of the time.
Yeah,
Actually, all the time I did, right down to the end, right?
I think-
Maybe not before you were actually on my team, you know, that little one day, but it's like no one was on teams there, right? But as soon as you're on teams, there's fight to the death. That's what I was going to do, right?
you have to back your team up regardless of who it is and what they did.
The OGs and Young Guns thing, actually, when you ask that, makes me feel like something that I probably didn't even explore, but I felt very inadequate being categorized as an OG. As somebody who's been tattooing 15, going on 16 years, I didn't feel like I belonged on that side with, you, Tex, Lucy. 15 probably would have been a better number. Obviously the eliminations, for the theme always dictates how these shows go. We've seen it, like, you can't have it uneven.
The theme of this season definitely got me early because I had to go up against the best people in the season from the beginning instead of having to earn my station going up against the Young Guns. It was more like you got to go up against the best. As you guys saw throughout the season, the Young Guns got eliminated a lot quicker than the OGs. So yeah, it was a fun experience. I had a good time. I had a great time meeting all these new artists I never met before and getting inspired by them and pushing me to be the artist I am now. So I'm excited about that.
When they first announced OGs versus Young Guns, at first I was like, well, what's the age separation? I'm looking around the oldest people and the youngest, and I feel like I'm right in the middle, mid-30s. But then when they talked about it in terms of tattoo experience, 10 years or more OGs, 10 years or less Young Guns, I'm in the 13-year range. And I don't feel like I'm an OG. I feel like 10 years in, you've got a pretty good grasp on it. 20 years, you've now started to experiment, you've seen your work heal. 30 years, 25 plus years, you're an OG to me. I feel like I'm a young OG, right? But when they put that in place, there has to be some sort of twist or catch or theme to the game. I feel like there was a balance, right, to be able to eliminate within the two different groups. But if it wasn't there, at some point, you might have had your weaknesses exposed anyways. And just being around everyone in this group, even the people that I thought mostly did realism, to see everyone on a highly illustrative level was really inspiring. And yeah, I feel like, although I didn't want to be eliminated so soon, I did have a lot more work to do as far as the illustration and the drawing aspect.
The team challenges are difficult, no matter what. You always want to compete by yourself in these sort of competitions. But having a strong team, I feel like I've been tattooing a long time, 27 years professionally. Did my first tattoo 30 years ago. So I would be on the team OGs. So I feel like being on a team with that much experience would help you greatly getting that much further in the competition rather than being by yourself. No matter what, having all that experience around you to bounce heads back and forth or have a little bit more guidance, your friends around you with that much experience critiquing you, I think would help you get that much further. It is different because I've competed in this competition by myself. I've competed with a partner, and I've also competed on a team. So I've been in a couple, a team, and by myself. So I've been through it all. I can say doing it on my own without having a team was probably the best, but it's nice to have people in this competition setting having your back for as long as you can, because when you're by yourself, everyone's out to get you. So I think, both options have their up and down, but.
Yeah, so I do think the competition would have been a bit different had there not been teams, especially like the Young Guns and the OGs. I kind of wanted everybody to be on their own individual standpoint and, make alliances from there or do whatever they needed to do, just because I feel like people would have had a lot more control of themselves rather than being forced on a team. Because even still, it's a competition, only one person can win, so even though you're on a team, it still feels very fake, I guess, right? Like we're rooting for our team to get to the end, but then what's the point, I could be wrong when I think this way, but I do think that having that team aspect did change the elimination a little bit, and maybe that's just some crazy conspiracy theory, I don't know. But I feel like at some point, they couldn't just eliminate all the Young Guns, they couldn't do that, even though it should have been what happened.
That's fair.